Thanks for joining us for AM Talk, and we're here to do discussions and look at security with the head of Police Public Relations, DSP Cephas Arthur. He is in the studio. A very good morning to you, and thanks for joining us. Now, we want to first and foremost ask you, especially since we're in the period of the Christmas season, even though we're here to do a review of security situation for 2013, how you have been in a position to manage security for the period, this very Yuletide season.
Yeah, thank you, and I say Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you too, and I wish you a Happy New Year.
Thank you.
In advance.
Merci. Security management has been up to scratch. As you know, we haven't had a lot of instances where people are reporting of crimes being committed. We have put in place a very comprehensive security measures in place to ensure that we are able to secure the Xmas and create a congenial atmosphere for people to go about the Christmas festivities in peace. And so far, so good. A lot of people are commending the police for a wonderful job done, especially in the area of traffic management and then protection of lives and property. So by and large, it has been so successful, and the police is happy about our achievements so far, quite apart from the little hitch that we had in Tema, where unfortunately an immigration officer lost his life, was attacked and killed by some armed men. But then apart from that gory incident, it has been so successful, and we are happy about our output so far.
Now, what was the strategy like? What was the deployment like?
Yeah. We launched Operation Father Christmas about 3 weeks before the Xmas itself, and that entails a package that is quite comprehensive. It entails security on our roads to ensure that we are able to secure movement of goods and properties and human beings, because a lot of money and goods were going to shuttle our roads, be the first-class road, second-class road, or even feeder roads, because people were going to come to the city centers to do final shopping, and criminals are also doing intelligence, and they were going to strike them on the roads. So we were able to curtail that largely. We were able to curtail that, so that we didn't record many instances of highway robbery. Then the second one is what we call the community security or residential security. Once again, the criminals knew that a lot of people were going to move from their homes to the city centers to do their final buying and selling. And they were going to leave their homes unattended to, and they could strike them there. And they also knew that a lot of money and goods were going to be in the house, because people were preparing to celebrate. So then it would be a fertile ground for them to strike them in the house. And so we're doing a lot of community patrol, residential patrols, to ward them off and to create an atmosphere of confidence for the people. Then we came to shopping security. And once again, a lot of money was going to come to the city centers to do shopping. And this is where criminals like conmen, tricksters, bag snatchers, pickpockets were going to cash in on. And so we populated the city centers with our presence. So wherever you would pass, you would see a police officer, and that will serve as a deterrent to criminals. And largely we succeeded in achieving that. Then another one we have in place is entertainment security. Xmas is for entertainment, is for merrymaking. People are going to go to the nightclubs, beaches, drinking spots, restaurants to enjoy themselves. And in such a situation, they become very, very vulnerable to criminals. I mean, people are going to get drunk, and they become vulnerable. People go to the beaches and other things. And so we put a security arrangement in place to cater for entertainment or enjoyment. So at the beach, we had our marine police there to do two things: provide protection on the beach, and then provide safety at sea. Yeah, so this is about the strategy we put in place, coupled with what we call the educational aspect of it, which you are even offering me the opportunity to
now, particularly talking about the deployment of police in communities during the year, and we're now looking at the review for 2013. We've seen a lot more deployment of police in communities, and I should say personally that is laudable. And then also we do a lot more interaction with the public than usually we would have on the face-to-face or interpersonal basis. Why the need for that very strategy?
Yeah, the police wanted to be more proactive. We realized that it would be easier policing our people, the country, by preventing, by being proactive, than to do a reactive something. So we placed more emphasis on preventive measures. That is to say that we wanted to prevent crime from occurring. We wanted to populate our communities, our business district, to deter criminals from striking, to give confidence to the good people of the country to go about their activities in peace, rather than to wait and be just a little visible in our communities and create a leeway for criminals to strike, and then we go in to combat them. That is quite outlandish now. We are stepping forward. We are becoming more professional. So we thought it wise to place more emphasis on preventive measures. That is why we are out. And also to create a good relationship between the public and the police, so that we can share and preempt crimes before they even occur.
Because, for example, you travel to the UK or the US, you have police personnel who are working in communities. Even you're bending before a car, perhaps you have a flat tire or something. They'll come to ask you. And these days we're seeing that from police personnel in Ghana.
That is so.
Is that the way to go? And how do you bridge perhaps any misconception that may arise as a result of the public not getting the information quite well, that the police is there to serve them, not just very inquisitorial when they're asking questions?
That is best international practices, to be out there and befriend the public and get to know their problems and solve them before the crime even occurs. And I think that the people of Ghana are coming along very nicely. They are coming along very nicely, because we are also talking to them. I mean, with the introduction of the visibility policing, if I can call this so, the general term is patrol department, but the visibility policing is just a component of it. With the introduction of it, we did some education of members of to the members of the public. And so they have understood what is happening. We haven't had any instances where people are saying that, oh, we are being inquisitive, or people have misconstrued the strategy. No, they understand it. They are even asking that. I mean, they doubt whether it is going to be permanent, because they want it to be permanent.
Is it going to be?
Exactly. That's why we have even created a whole department for it, and so it has come.
What department do you?
Patrol department. Patrol department, except that small bit is visibility policing, part of the patrol department, and it has come to stay. It has been given a space in our books, and so I can assure members of the public that this is not a flash in the pan. It has come to stay, and we should deal with them, and we hope that it will continue to reduce crime, help reduce crime in our communities.
Because I was just about to ask whether we've seen a corresponding reflection in the numbers of crime reduction, or let's say reporting of cases or information being given to the police, etc.
Yeah, we haven't done any scientific assessment of the situation yet, but from what we are getting, the signals and the commendation that people are making, and even some, number of cases that are coming up, we realize that we are cutting off those pieces of crime which were happening when the strategy hadn't been introduced. So you could see that, yes, it is making an impact. And what is more reassuring is the fact that you go out and people tell, oh, now police are almost everywhere, so I can go anywhere I want without fearing. And that is very crucial in the combat of crime, in the provision of security, in maintenance of law and order. When you reduce the fear of crime, or you take away the fear of crime, then you'll be hitting your target. Yes, because the fear of crime is very crucial in maintenance of law and order. So if you reduce the fear of crime in the public, such that they can now go anywhere they want to go to do their own legitimate business without fearing that just in the next at the next stop there will be a criminal there to prevent him, and therefore he cannot go, and therefore it will retard development. Then you'll be achieving your goals.
Now, when it comes to the subject of you patrolling the streets and communities, are we seeing that only in populated and urban communities, or is also being replicated in rural communities where we know that the presence of the police is not usually in numbers felt?
Yeah, the strategy is tailored according to the crime situation and the demands of the area. We are in this visible prominence of police is in the city centers, urban areas, and the towns. But when you go to this our smaller villages, they have their peculiar crime situations, and so we have tailored their own security measures for them. But we have the village patrol also in place, what we call village patrol, and so the village police or the police in the rural areas also have their system of patrol in place, which also takes care of their security concerns. So everybody has got what is suited for him.
What is the number of police personnel we have currently?
We are a little over 32,000 now.
Okay. Is that enough? Because the concern, I believe, some 5-6 years ago was that you were not more than 25,000. I believe you were then in the regions of between 23,000 and 25,000.
That is so.
And the concern was that we didn't have the ratio per the people population as you would want it. Are we getting there?
Yeah. Remember we launched in the year 2010 the National Policing Plan. 5-year national policing plan, and we projected that by the next 5 years from then we should hit 40,000. Yes, and now I can say that we have approximated our goal. We have come quite close to our goal, and so 2014, by the close of 2014, I'm sure all things being equal, we can hit our target. And I can also say that with the rise from 21,000, 22,000, 23,000 to 32,000 over now, we have closed the gap. And now we are getting close to the UN ratio of 1:500. We are now hovering around 1:700 and something. And so we are doing well, although we need some more.
But then it brings to the issue of a corresponding infrastructure. Since you have a lot more people around, it is possible that many of them don't have stations now. They become community policing people. So how do you integrate them into the system, supposing there was infrastructure or there's no infrastructure?
Certain infrastructures or certain structures are not crucial to policing. If we get them, they are fine, but if they are not present, they are not very crucial. The police administration, especially the IGP, his philosophy about policing is that policing is on the street. It's not done in the offices. We only need a skeletal administrative staff to graft the policing on, but the great part of the work is on the street. So you don't necessarily need to have officers to come and sit in to do what? He says that this policing is on the street, so go to the street and police.
Well, we do understand that's a strategy. Is that the strategy of the whole police service? Or
exactly.
Because it is an individual strategy, then it is a strategy of the whole structure.
Exactly.
That is it?
Exactly.
That is going to be the strategy going forward?
That is the strategy going forward. Now we are not staying in the offices and pushing the pens and papers, but then we are going to go onto the street because crimes are committed in the streets, on our homes, so that we go there and deter criminals and to chase them, to combat them, than to sit in the offices and wait for people to come and make complaint. Yeah, so infrastructure in that respect is not very crucial, but accommodation, police need accommodation. And so we are taking steps in that direction to ensure that we get accommodation. That is a very teething problem that the police service is having. And quite recently, some steps were taken. IGP and Vice President and other things are taking some steps in that direction. And we know that before long, some aspect of it will also be solved. But that is quite a teething problem that we need to solve.
Now, talking about teething problems, we just went through an election process from 2012. And then as a result of that, there was an election petition. And within the whole process of the petitioning itself, there was some level of security tension. Would you say that was true or not? How did you manage that?
There was a tension, yes, because it was quite a novelty. It was a novelty, and people hadn't experienced the situation before, where we had just come out of election, and there was a petition, and anything at all could have happened, and so people were sitting on the edge. But then the police, the security agencies, and the people of Ghana were up and doing. We managed to put very important security measures in place to ensure that we don't get any excesses. And by the grace of God, we were able to achieve our goal to the extent that on the day of the announcement, the streets were deserted. Nobody was prepared to cause any commotion. Everybody was prepared to accept what would come out, and eventually what came out, people accepted it. And characteristics of Ghanaian, we were peaceful, and now we are moving on.
The subject of talk within that period was the show of force that the security agencies, and especially the police and the army, showed.
Yeah.
And it was akin to a period when we had the revolution, etc. And you thought that that was very unnecessary for a democratic state.
Every situation requires its own measures to be adopted. I don't think that the kind of police and security presence that we had on our street broke any bone. In fact, there wasn't any instance where anybody complained that the policemen who were in the Mowak or in the whatever vehicle came down here and then stopped the vehicle, got down and arrested somebody and attacked them. And there wasn't one single case of molestation, I mean, during those periods. So you could see that the strategy was well suited for the situation. I mean, it sent the right signals to the people that...
Was it a frightening signal?
No, not frightening signal, a signal of security to members of the public. And, I mean, all said and done, people commended the security agencies, especially the police, I mean, which was a lead agency, for the way and manner they secured it. I mean, naturally, when there's a pour out of a large number of police or security agencies on our street, people are not used to that, and they will get, I mean, some apprehensions. But then, if after all this, you see the police just moving and ensuring security, not attacking people, not... Then you see that they are there for one's own interest, not to molest anybody. So the people accepted us, and they commended us highly for the able manner in which we were able to manage the situation. Yes.
And prior to that, there were a number of interventions that were also undertaken, led by the IGP. He undertook a lot of tours to communities.
Yes.
And what was the rationale? And it all just coincided with the with the announcement or the verdict, so to speak, by the Supreme
You mean
Court.
the IGP, not the IGP? Mr. Mohammed Al-Hassan.
Yes.
Yeah, he's the IGP. Yes, and that was also very strategic. He was to inspect the preparedness of the security agencies, of the police, for any eventuality, for the verdict and its aftermath. So he is the type who didn't want to sit in the office and assume that things are in place. So he goes there. He said that you have to see and feel. If he doesn't feel it, he only hears it, he doesn't take it. So he went down to the regions to see the preparedness of the various regional commands for the whole situation. So he went down to see and feel, and that is what also helped in securing the situation for us.
But would you say at the end of the day, everything was in place, and you were happy as a force, as a service, that, well, the best security operandi had been rolled out.
Yeah, that is so. We are very happy as an institution, a security institution. Everybody was happy, and we were once again commended by the people of Ghana for the able manner in which we handled the situation.
But it was not also smooth. We've had some conflict situations. We've had some conflict situations between Alavanyo's and Nkunyes, Kukumbes and Bimobes, etc.
Oh, you mean the year?
Yeah.
You are not talking about the court case alone?
No. I'm talking about the year. We're moving on from the court case.
Yeah, you know, this is a community or a society inhabited by human beings. And where there are human beings, there are crimes. So we have had some skirmishes in other parts of the country. And then, in all cases, the security agencies, the police, the military, the fire service, and others have been able to weather the storm. We have come together to weather the storm. It is very unfortunate that in some of the cases, some lives were lost and other things. But we are doing everything possible to ensure that we don't get such situation. And when they pop up, we are able to smother the fire quickly in order not to have a conflagration in the country.
And usually, what signals do you, or perhaps what sort of intelligence do you put in place to make sure that you forestall some of those eventualities? Because when they happened, it didn't seem as if the police were right in the midst of it, trying to get a win before the conflict, perhaps, or even the disagreements were erupted.
Yeah, maybe you are not a security officer, so you may think that we didn't put, or we don't put anything in place, but we put a lot of we activate our intelligence and we pick pieces of information to enable us fight some of these cases. Once in a while there will be a lapse. I mean, this is a human effect, a human nature. Once in a while there will be a lapse, but then we, as much as possible, we try to plug into the loopholes and ensure that we don't create any lapse for anything to happen unexpectedly. But we put a lot of intelligence on the ground, a lot that we cannot just dismantle one by one. But then we put a lot of intelligence on the ground, and that gives us the information. But a crime can be committed just by the snap of the finger. So no matter how watertight your intelligence or your security is, you could still have crimes scraping through and occurring. But the ability for one to handle the situation when they occur is also a mark of a good security institution, and that is what we are famed for.
And you now have everything under control now in some of those communities.
Yes.
More recently, we have the Alavanyos and Nkunyes having some disagreements.
And now you see that they seem to be smoking the peace pipe, and the regional minister donated a cow and jerseys to the youth of the two communities to further foster a closer relationship between them and help solve the problem. And the leadership of the two communities came out to appreciate the gesture and said that it will go a long way. We are to provide security while other people also take on the other aspect of it to ensure that the situation is totally ironed out. So we are doing our best, and we are collaborating with the other agencies in this direction. And so it's our hope that in no time this situation will be brought under control completely, and we didn't have such situations again. And our intelligence apparatus will also be working very hard to ensure that we pick snipers of these issues so that we can easily and quickly go in to put measures to prevent any occurrence of nasty situations.
In the Ashanti region, there were a series of incidents, and that I believe troubled the police a bit. Of course, you were able to nip all that in the bud. But what happened in the Ashanti region during the year?
Ashanti region's situation is
it's a peculiar one.
It's quite unfortunate. Not a peculiar. I wouldn't say peculiar. It's quite unfortunate. But what is important is that we were able to bring it under control. And as I speak, our strategies are still on the ground. I quite remember somebody called me recently and said that there seems to be too many of road checks in Kumasi in the night, and that the person was expressing concern about it, that road check starts right from 6 o'clock. So when even people have gone to pick their children from school, they start going through the traffic. I expressed concern for his situation and said that he should bear with us, and every security situation requires a special security strategy to deal with it. And we're not going to drop our guard immediately after we had solved the situation and maybe be taken on unawares again by certain issues. We are going to persist for a while to ensure that the situation totally comes down to zero before we can revise it again. So a tailor-made measures were found for the Kumasi situation, and now we have peace in Kumasi, and it is our hope that Kumasi is going to remain peaceful in the coming year, and that the situation that we experienced early 2013 will not rear its ugly head again.
Of course, the situation in Kumasi will not be only peculiar to Kumasi. All around the world,
Exactly.
even in New York and some of those places in Brazil.
Exactly.
Well, we're going to have the World Cup next year. They have one of the most number of gangs around the world, etc.
Yeah.
But before those type of activities fester, is it enough for just community policing to be undertaken, or perhaps the intelligence activities or the security situation needs to be a lot more intensified, or is being intensified to prevent a recurrence of some of those situations?
You see, all aspects of police strategies are activated. Yes, including...
Every day, you mean?
Yes, every day, including the visibility policing. The visibility policing people that you see them around are not only being visible, they are also picking pieces of intelligence which are passed on to the appropriate quarters for processing. And then we also have the undercover intelligence gatherers who are also working. And you know, the police are not the only people who are picking intelligence. We have other intelligence units in other security agencies who are working in concert with the police to ensure that we provide security in the country. And then on daily basis or minutely basis, we have the patrol teams patrolling. I mean, showing the physical and robust face of the police to ensure that they prevent criminals from striking, and where they strike, they are dealt with accordingly. So they are all police security strategies are activated, are working. And so we are not leaving any vacuum for any criminal to strike. I mean, the foolhardy ones may want to dare, but I mean, should they dare, the police will be on hand to either nip it in the bud or deal with them accordingly.
And so far, you're satisfied with the Kumasi situation, at least the security situation that the police has been on top? That's
so. We are quite satisfied, because we've been able to curtail the incidents that we are recording, and that is the goal. If the goal has been achieved, why not? Except that we have to ensure that we prolong it. We retain the peace that we have there, so that it doesn't degenerate again.
How are you able to get to the most rural parts of the country, where once in a while you get, let's say, a conflict in the central region that might have erupted during the year, or a farmer killing, or somebody killing a farmer, and dumping the body somewhere, and the police would go and undertake the investigations and etc. And then, let's say, on the Spinters Road, for example, you were able to pick up whoever the suspect was somewhere far off. We're being told somewhere
in the eastern region.
Yes, in the eastern region. How are you able to undertake all that just within a space of all that? Intelligence
is the watchword, and we also have police stations and policemen in the villages, and every policeman is taught some amount of intelligence and how to. And police are also cultivating informants. You see, we are also cultivating informants, and day in and day out, we are entreating members of the public to volunteer information to the police to enable us fight crime together. So some members of the public are also supporting the police, and we can't take the credit all alone. We share it with those of members of the public who partner the police and give us pieces of information to do our work. So all over we have police officers, and maybe after teachers, the police service or the police are the most widespread government institution in the country. We are almost everywhere, and our personnel are also trained to pick pieces of intelligence. They deal with members of the public, and that's why we are doing our work.
Okay, and so we have to say thank you very much for coming to us, for us to have this very discussion. What should be the precaution people should take, especially tomorrow is 31st night? And,
yeah, tomorrow is 31st night.
There'll be a lot more people around in communities, and and they may not have the necessary intelligence and precautions.
I want to reiterate what the Accra Regional Police Commander, DCOP Yohonu, said. And he said that we shouldn't leave our homes in the care of only the aged, the infirm, the sick during the 31st and go to watch night. Okay. We should leave the able-bodied persons also with these people, because if you leave the infirm, the aged, the children in the house, they will not be able to keep our homes in our absence. So let us leave some of the able-bodied men also, everybody people to be in the house. Let us fortify our locks as we leave. Let us fortify them and ensure that they are impregnable. All the police will be there patrolling the general communities. But the details, it takes just one person, one small person hiding in the darkness to break into somebody's home. So if you fortify it, you make it difficult for people to break into your home. So that is one. Where you are keeping your key is also crucial. It has become too commonplace to keep the keys under the doormat and in a flower pot. Even the class 1 child knows about that. So the first place that the criminals will look for your key are the first place are the doormat and the distance.
So they have to change.
So change. And keep your surroundings, your houses well lit.
What about those who go to the all nights and they're coming?
Yes, they should also go in numbers. They shouldn't go in singles. They should avoid desolate and dark places. Yes, if you avoid those places, you'll be providing some security for yourselves. So, a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. And we've had in the studio Head of Public Relations, Ghana Police Service, and thanks for speaking to us, DSP Cephas Arthur, and making time for us this morning. Thank you again. And we hope that when we call on you again within the course of the holidays, you make yourself available.
I'm glad.
Okay, and that's been it for AM Talk. But next, we're looking at my community, and Sabade is the community we're going to. They have a land conflict situation, and Francis Abla de Souza was there. But in the meantime, Hajia Adiza Wache, you're just behind Solace in Cape Coast, and you stay around the bank quarters, and Auntie Abu and Hamata, as well as Miri and Lami. All of you, you're there. Very good, delicious wache that you prepare all the time. A very good morning to you, and I hope you're enjoying the holidays. I'll come for some wache anytime. Perhaps I'm able to travel to your community. But please, next we're going to Sabade. And Sabade has a peculiar problem. Because of its location, well, they have some difficulties with protecting their own lands, as well as the issue of land guards and disagreement over land. And the team has been there to look at it in the segment, My Community.